Okay, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to the ICL seminar. What we're going to do today is do it in two parts. As you know, it's an holistic approach to plant protection. The first part is I'm going to give you the background on some legislation changes, how they're going to affect you, the importance of ICM and IPM. They are different. So basically it's about overcoming the future challenges facing growers and crop protection. So what we've got is growing media additives or ICL, precision nutrition, and also plant protection products, conventional and biological. Now what the future holds is going to affect how everyone here today who's involved in crop production does things moving forward. And that's through something called SUD, Sustainable Use Directive. That's now in force. It's legally on the statute book, and running alongside it is the Water Framework Directive, which is all about water quality, pesticides in water, nitrates leaching into water, and it's all being looked at very hard by the European Union and our regulators too. What this will mean to you is there'll be a loss of traditional agrochemical products going forward, mainly because everyone's moving to broadacre crops. It's much easier for them to get actives into that market. It's also worth a lot more money to them. So the reason you're losing some active ingredients is not because they're necessarily being revoked by the authorities, it's that the approval holders don't support them. It's no longer profitable for them to do it. So what we need to be doing is moving over to more sustainable ways of crop production, using IPM, ICM techniques. Some of you will already be doing it. I've spent a lot of time in the food industry and they've already been doing that for 25 years, so we are a little bit behind them. There's a lot of environmental and political pressures going alongside too. So leaching of nitrates is a big thing in field-grown crops. The protection of bees, which I think you all know about. Birds, fish, mammals. Supermarkets, and they're very powerful, more than they've ever been before, and they've all got their own agenda on how they want things to be done. We've got peat alternatives. Loss of herbicides, and you all know about the loss of things such as Ronstar, and I don't believe you'll get another granular herbicide for containerised products from this day forward. I might be wrong, I hope I am. Then we've got industry and public concerns, sustainability, and it's taking an open-minded approach, embracing new technology, embracing softer, non-chemical options. But more importantly for me, it's planning for the future, planning what's going to be going on going forward, not a last-minute approach. You need to have a plan. So how can we help? ICL can help you produce a plan. So that's something I used to do for food crops. There's accurate nutrition programs, growing media, technical support, water management with H2 Grow, and we've also got crop protection products such as the Exemptor for vine weevil and pre-stop for several diseases. And then we've got ongoing support and analysis to help you produce your crop. So plant protection, one big thing at the moment is pollinators. And I think you all know what's happening with neonicotinoids. So there is a move at the moment away from neonicotinoids. Now there's 2 approved neonicotinoids in the UK that can be used on open flaring crops, protected and outdoors. It's thiacloprid, it's the active ingredient of Exemptor, and acetamiprid. The main one for ornamentals is Gazelle. Now, both those can be used in flaring crops, indoor and outdoors. There's no issues according to the regulators. More importantly, it's been proven at the moment with good science that these products are not toxic to bees. So you need to know the difference. when you're thinking about what you're doing next season. Are you going to use any nicotinoids? If you are, which one? If you're not, what are you going to use instead of? So do you really know, if you're not going to be using neonicotinoids, what the alternative products are? Is the active ingredient damaging to bees or not? The only way to do that is to look at your environmental information sheet, which you get on the BI website. Look up the EIS sheet for your product, and that will give you a full environmental breakdown, including its effect on bees. This needs to be part of your plan before your season starts. Get everything lined up, plan of action, including your IPM approach. So are you going to use IPM techniques? Are you going to use natural predators? Are you going to use biological products? If you are, you need to understand how they integrate. And again, you need to take advice. So if you don't know that they're compatible, physically and or biological, you could have problems. What you're doing here is future-proofing your business. And that's what everyone needs to do now, because this legislation is moving at a very fast rate of knots, and you are going to see products dropping off. Classic examples are like chlorpyrifos. Nobody ever thought that was going. It's gone. So nothing is off the table. Anything could happen. So one of our products, Exempta, which you probably all know, what that's giving you is protection for a myriad of pests in one go. So you have it incorporated in your growing media. Straight away what you're doing is you're looking after your plants and protecting them against several pests, instead of using several products to do the same thing. So at 400 grams a cubic metre, what you're going to get is 38 weeks control on vine weevil. It's quite good control. And then we've got the several pests, including aphids, leaf beetles, fungus gnats and whitefly. You've got several weeks control out of one application. That's giving you quite a good bit of leeway when you're looking at crop protection on your nursery, because you're not having to go in spraying or drenching. It's all there. It's something to think about. But it is a neonic, so you have to decide whether that's something you want to go to. Pre-stop. Pre-stop is a biological product. What this will do, you can have it mixed into your compost between 200 and 500 grams per cubic metre, and that will afford you good preventative control against Pythium, Phytophthora, Rhizoctonia and Fusarium. These are all quite damaging diseases, especially when you're potting up new plants. But also you need to think about what's coming into your nursery. Has it already been treated, or do you need to treat it? Again, it's a plan. Are you buying in plants? Are you producing your own? What are you doing to protect them against these diseases? What you mustn't do with waterborne diseases like this is use the same active ingredient all the time. Because what you will find is they will build up resistance, and after time they won't work. You won't know that until it's too late. So rotating your active ingredients, getting the timings right, is all part of the plan. This is just a very simple diagram of what can happen on a nursery, and what I see all the time, there's a lot of technicalities talked about in some of these seminars. The basics are always forgotten. And for me, when you're buying in plants, do you know what that supplier is treating them with? Are they protected against pest diseases, especially vine weevil? If you don't know, ask them. Don't buy plants in without knowing what's coming into your nursery. You spend a lot of time keeping it clean. You need to make sure you know what's going on. On this side, when plants do come in, the production team need to quarantine them. Too many nurseries I see buy plants in from wherever, the UK, from Holland or elsewhere, straight into general population. If they're infected, all the hard work that you've done on your nursery to keep it clean is undone. So again, it's got to be part of the mindset on your nursery. And then, once you've got your plants out of quarantine into general population, what's the plan? Where do you go from there? Are you doing a spraying program? Are you going to add exempt, or are you going to add something else? You need to know. It's got to be written down. And in my view, the whole team needs to be taking ownership of this. Everyone needs to know what you're doing, so they've all got the same aim on the nursery. Because if you're not doing that, something will come undone. And once you get something like vine weevil in there, in the crop, it's too late. So what I'm urging you to do, if you're not already doing it, is have that plan. And it goes exactly the same with your growing media. What growing media are you going to use? Are you going to use controlled release fertiliser? Are you going to use soluble feeds? What are you doing? It's no good doing that once the compost turns up and then you don't really know what you're going to do. So take advice, work out what's best for you, get it written down in your plan, and follow it. And it's exactly the same with the IPM programme. Do you know if you're going to use macrobiologicals? In other words, predators, parasites? If so, who's your supplier? Do you need advice of them? Are you going to have a regular advisor coming on site? Do you know when you're going to start the programme? Do you know who's going to take delivery? Does it need refrigeration? All these things are there. Because biological products need a lot of attention to detail. If you don't take it, they won't work. The problem is you won't know they're not working until it's too late. So again, take advice, put it in your plan, know where you're going. And the one thing that people don't do, I hear it all the time, growers, monitor. Monitor every day. You need somebody out there monitoring the crops, but more importantly, coming back to your reporting system and logging what you found and where you found it. So when it comes to growing media, sample it, get it sampled. Do you know what the nutrition is doing? Do you know what the pH is? You know, get it sampled. Leaf tissue analysis, get it done, so you can see what's going on in your crop. That's something we can do for you, or if you're not certain about the nutritional status of your soluble feed or whatever you're doing, then get it analysed and look for a recommendation that's best for your crop. Again, record it, follow up on it. There's always improvements we can make, but a lot of people make them, forgot what they did because they haven't written it down. So it's a way of thinking. So, just to recap, growing media certainly needs to be thought about way before the season starts. So know exactly what you're doing. Work out your crop cycle, work out what you need in there, work out what the nutrition is going to be. Not all CRFs are the same, so do you want a CRF that holds some feedback and then releases it later on because that's the growth cycle of your plant? Then fine, look for that. Do you need a quick release? Do you need 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 8 to 9? What do you need? Get it all in the plan. Good advice is essential. One thing I will say to you is, if you're taking advice for plant protection, only ever use people who are BASIS registered. I don't mean BASIS qualified, BASIS registered. So what you do is, you ask them if they're on the register, and have they got an up-to-date certificate for the current year. You must have that in your possession with your plan. Same with facts. If you want fertiliser advice, I urge you to use someone who's facts qualified, because that way you're going to get the best advice. It's going to be accurate, something you can rely on. But monitor, monitor, monitor is my final word. So what you need to do is ICL technical sales manager. They're all BASIS qualified. Most of us are facts qualified. I'm beta qualified, so if anyone is concerned about water courses and what action you need to take, I can give you advice on that. That's something I did. My previous life was agricultural, so we had to do that. Biological control companies use their advice, use their expertise. They know more about what they're doing. The voluntary initiative, use that as a source of info. You can find all sorts on there, including your EIS sheets. Side effect databases are supplied by BioBest and Coppert. which will tell you that whichever active ingredient you're using, whether it's going to affect the biological control that you're using, so that's your parasites or your predators. And the Crop Protection Association. If you're worried about bees and pollinators, go to the CPA website. It gives you all you need to know about the effects of neonicotinoids and what's happening in agriculture, especially where it's still used in flowering crops. Case in point, oilseed rape. We probably can't grow oilseed rape without neonics. Well, we can, but we go backwards and kill even more bees. So, this is the challenge. Thank you.